Hey, everybody, welcome into the Horseshoe Lounge at Roosters on Olentangy River Road. It is a fun, casual joint, and it is time for a fun, casual conversation with Justin Zwick, Bobby Carpenter, and fresh from vacation, Nicole Cox. How was vacation?
It was great, guys.
All over the country, I feel like. Right?
It is. That's what I said.
Man, yeah, what a jet setter.
Can you? I asked, will Nicole crack double digits in vacations this year? That's the question everybody wants to know.
Guys, I told you last show, everybody is turning 40, so we have all these 40th birthday party,
Little
just
trips,
get-togethers.
yeah.
Little trips. There was a lot of flying involved in the past 10 days, but it was great.
good.
It was worth it.
I made my way to Bridge Park for my 40th, so that's how far I got to go. Yeah,
Luxurious
got
10-minute ride.
You
down
got
the road.
little ones, man. That's why. Like you got
fair.
little bitties. We're going to next. I'll be here because we're going in 2 weeks for mine. Going down to somewhere in the Bahamas. So
Going to Gatlinburg
Bobby,
next
that's
week.
amazing.
yeah. So yeah, I'll be 42. That stinks.
That's awesome.
I did I had a physical today, by the way. So didn't even get a prostate exam, which I was kind of looking forward to.
That's
Why
too
not?
bad.
I don't know. He didn't
You
offer. I didn't
asked
ask.
for that. I ask every time I don't ever go to the doctor. So
Please.
I don't know.
Well,
I've been-
Dr. Lombardo yelled at me at Demetrius Stanley's celebration of life. I don't know how we got talking. And it's like, well, every year I would show up to football and they would give me a physical.
Yeah, and that's
just
how I
keep
knew
playing.
I was okay.
And then 1 year I just didn't play football anymore. And it's like, okay, well, I didn't get a physical this
I
year.
feel okay. I don't need anything. Yeah.
And that turned into like 12 years. And so
Oh, I haven't been to a doctor since my last year
this
of
was,
playing. Yeah.
he goes, when was the last time you've been to a doctor? I was like, God, when I got my last year of play, I don't.
Or is
like,
it, who's your primary care physician? I'm like, I don't have one.
I've always said that. Now I have one.
Yeah,
Dr.
there
Doug DiOrio,
Good.
Doc Lombardo
Good.
referenced him. He's like, great. I was like, I feel okay. I feel pretty healthy. He's like, well, how do you know you feel healthy? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I can run.
Probably
I can do
because
most things I want to do.
I spend 3 hours every morning at 40 working out.
I was like, I can do most of what I could do at 20. The problem is, I'm like, now there's a little recovery. He's like, well, just general. So I'm like, yeah, man. Like I've got, you know what I did. Like
Yeah.
my body hurts sometimes. And he's like, well, you're doing. We got into. He's like, you're doing the right thing. I'm like, well, I get my heart rate over 170 probably every day, most days, and I don't smoke. I work out. I try to eat reasonably healthy. And I probably drink too much, but outside of that, I try to offset it by drinking a lot of water. So
There you go.
I don't know. And my cholesterol is genetically pretty low. And like I said, I don't just eat tons of fried food all the time, but I will partake from time to time.
You will today
I will.
at Roosters.
Yes.
So Nicole's been on vacation. Bobby worked a camp for kids on Friday.
Yep.
He's pretty excited for that.
Made an appearance at the Cardell Jones softball.
Quick appearance.
How'd the softball go for you guys on Friday?
We got our butts kicked.
Dude, I saw those guys swing.
No, you should at least waited for the introductions.
Listen, the home run derby took
Oh, I
an
know.
hour and a half.
it always goes on a little bit long.
Like, I can't get there and then
I'm with
wait
you.
an hour and a half to do something.
Well, and then we had 19 guys on the team, so
And
it's
that's
like, I got to bat twice. I was the last out.
Well, and that
Little
was
bit of Ohio State
that was the other argument. Is like I'm watching these guys just rake. I know what Steele can
Have
do.
you met them?
No, hey, Justin Zwick. Yeah, it's good to see you. Yeah.
Bobby? Good to see you. Pleasure.
Yeah, Austin Ward. Yeah.
Doug,
You don't look
Nicole,
like our normal
nice to see you.
waitress.
Doug
Or
the
waiter.
the Roosters waiter.
Oh, there we go. These are
Yeah,
the
throw them on
Crown Jewel.
down. Bring it in.
This is Austin's
I
favorite.
love this.
All right. Well, we're good right now.
We are good to go.
I'd have a water.
Thank you.
But,
We're good to
Thank
go.
you.
Look at that.
Thank,
Look at that.
Oh, look at that.
Doug's a 5-tool player. I'll
thank
tell
you,
he
you.
Doug,
is,
the
man.
Roosters waiter. We appreciate you.
I love it.
Wow. Imagine seeing Doug LeMaurice working at Roosters.
It's
tell
hey,
you,
the guy
on
can
the
do it
podcast
all.
show. That's
The
I
guy
love
can
it.
do it all.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
But I watched these guys hit, and then I heard about their prowess in their softball league in Columbus here, and it's like I'm going to wait an hour and a half to get my butt kicked. and
Well,
not
they
work
didn't
like-
beat us that bad. I mean, it was 5-1. So
Oh, really?
They had one inning where they got 4 runs maybe, and then Julian Fleming hit a bomb later in the game. But I think we skipped an inning on accident.
Yeah.
I
That
mean, just like
happens a lot.
the event itself skipped an inning. I think. Yeah, it was. I mean, we just didn't.
It's a fun time. And
It's a
like,
great time, great night, good crowd.
I'll tell you this: I would put that because I don't feel like we had that many baseball players when we were in school here.
Yeah.
Like they've got a couple legit,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
yeah.
You could probably build a decent starting lineup.
I mean, I think
with those
Beckman
guys.
was like the only guy who could
Yeah.
have played baseball. Well, I mean,
Steel
who had a
Chambers looked
chance.
like he was hitting some bombs out there.
Steele,
Oh, yeah. Steele,
dude,
Emeka.
Emeka for not being big,
Yeah.
was just
Oh, he
smacking.
ripped one off of the. So they had a pitcher come down from the women's softball team, and threw one inning to both teams.
So he got the hit off her?
That could crush one. A nice line drive out into right
no
center.
one, because no one had ever gotten a hit off when they bring in the softball.
I
player.
have before.
Did you get one?
Yeah, I've gotten one before.
Got like on base, not
quick to point
contact.
out.
Oh yeah, no, like a hit to the outfield, like a nice.
All right.
Yeah, I think it was a changeup, but I got it.
So you were the one. I think you may have been the only person.
I wanted to go against her. I was talking smack to her the whole time. I was like, I want a piece of you, and then I didn't get it.
Well, it's a scary deal for them because like you guys are way bigger and more powerful than the girls we're facing, and they don't wear masks usually.
And she's on a mount, a makeshift mount. She's like, "There's, it's so slippery out there." Because I asked her, like, "Are you bringing like 80%? Because I don't want you, I don't want you hurting yourself. Like, what does this look like?"
Oh yeah.
She's like, "Oh, it's so tough. It's a flat AstroTurf type deal they put out there for her." So but she did a great job, and that's always a fun thing for everybody to see. The guys look like idiots trying to swing.
Oh yeah.
on a 90-mile-an-hour fastball coming down
from 40 feet away.
From 40 feet away, it's nuts.
I mean, it's right on top of you. And the other thing that no one talks about, it's like it's coming from bottom to top.
Mm-hmm.
I go, it's the only time you will ever see like all baseball's this. So it's like so you know how you're planing it. They throw those risers and it's like right into your chin.
It's nuts.
It's like, my goodness. So it's a fun time had by all.
Yeah, sounds like it was a great weekend for everybody. And now it's time for Big Ten Media Days. Happy Media Days to everyone who celebrates.
Yes.
When are you guys heading out?
Participates tomorrow. We'll be leaving for Indianapolis. The Buckeyes go on Wednesday. Nicole, you pretty much nailed all the predictions. JT Tuimoloau, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Cade Stover going along with Ryan Day. So, my favorite time of the year, the unofficial kickoff for Big Ten season, Ohio State football. Nicole, if you were coming along on Wednesday,
I was just going to say, maybe one day you'd let me tag along. I'd love it.
There's plenty of room if you want to go spend 2 days talking to dudes in suits about what their favorite color is.
Do they have to wear suits? I think the BYU guys for the Big 12, they wore their uniforms.
Well,
did you see that?
No, I didn't.
They
full out uniform?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? Nice.
They have to take both because the networks will do the photo shoots and video stuff. So you have a suit and your jersey. You take both.
But I think they wore their jerseys into the meet. Like, not just their jersey, their whole.
That's what we're wearing today? Okay, great.
Rest of the day.
Go into the press conference.
If whatever you're comfortable in, I'm fine with it. They don't have to wear a suit for me. I don't care about that at all. Are
you going to wear a suit?
No. In what situation would I?
Well, that's what I figured. I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, how long have you known me? So, Nicole, let's say you're going on Wednesday, and we'll just plan next year. But it might align with your vacation. Number 8.
You're always on the road.
We're gonna have to start going on vacation in June because of football schedules. Yeah.
What's on your mind? You've got Ryan Day and those 3 Buckeyes. What would you most want to learn?
Gosh, guys, just how they feel about. I mean, this is a very broad question, but just the new and upcoming guys. Just how, because we lost some of our key players, and just how everybody's feeling with the confidence of the new players coming in.
So you're not going to go in and say, Marv, who's going to be the starting quarterback? You don't want to just dive straight into it?
I mean, if they can give me an answer, I'd love it.
No, they won't.
Yeah,
I hope not.
But they won't. I am anxious to see how that's going to play out, because when was it Kyle McCord? Kyle McCord was when CJ was chosen, right? Like he was the backup.
Yeah.
Correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he started one game.
Yeah.
And
but
CJ
was
his
they
shoulder.
basically talked about CJ the whole time though. There wasn't as much of a competition, right? As there is this go around.
Yeah. Well, it was what's his name? Jack Miller.
Yeah, but
that's right.
Jack Miller was never part of that.
Was that not him?
It wasn't Jack and CJ. Like that was the battle, but
Jack Miller was never.
No, it was
Kyle
CJ.
was already ahead of Jack Miller.
Oh,
okay, yeah, that's right. They were in the same class.
He was on the roster.
I mean, I remember we had a quarterback battle before.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that has trouble remembering these.
Well, they
things.
kind of run
it all runs together, But when do you think they will announce that?
Week 1.
I bet they announced it 2 weeks into camp. Yeah, I bet at the end of the second week of camp, they'll probably.
I think Ryan
if they have a.
I think Ryan would like to announce it probably 7 to 10 days.
Well, after the first scrimmage, I bet he wants to come out and say, "Hey, this is our guy."
I think, Bob, that he handles this much differently than Urban Meyer ever did, and this is pure speculation. The fact that he played quarterback, I think, lends itself to what would I want to know if it's not if the competition is not actually ongoing. Shouldn't the starter, if it's me or the other guy, shouldn't they be getting the work for the benefit of the team? Like what?
And I guess here's the trade-off with that is maybe it's guys may know, and Ryan may just like don't be talking about this, but they'll get the guy, whoever it is, the appropriate
Whoever's getting
reps.
more reps that you can kind of tell.
And we're building around it,
probably.
and it's not 50-50 in and out, like, and they're working with that guy. So I would imagine that would be the case.
Yeah, I think him being an old quarterback helps a ton in this situation. Now, I mean, every coach is different. You know, Trust didn't tell us a single thing. We split 50-50 the entire time, all the way through camp. I think it's huge for a quarterback to know, like, all right, this is my team. You know, hey, I still have somebody right behind me chomping at my heels, but this is my team. I got 2 weeks of camp to really focus in on that. I know I'm going to be the starter day one. Instead of when you show up every day and it's just like you start rep counting, he got more, or he got to do this one. I didn't get to do this, and it can really weigh on you a little bit. Who's
in there?
Yeah,
with
well,
you?
he's in with the ones more than I am, and I'm not getting this shot, and then, it really can weigh on you throughout camp. And so, I mean, if they have an idea, they know, and it goes that way, and everybody stays healthy, and he thinks Kyle is the guy, or he thinks Devin is the guy. I think after that first scrimmage is when they come out and say, all right, this is what we're going to do. We got 2 weeks left of camp. He's going to be our starter. We're still going to work in because we need two guys just in case something happens. But, I think it's a huge confidence builder for that number one guy, just knowing, all right, I got 2 weeks to prepare for the season. I'm the guy. I don't want to give this away, instead of looking over his shoulder the whole rest 2 weeks of camp. What's going to happen? And then, I mean, like, when we left my sophomore year, I went home to watch our high school games on Friday nights because we used to be able to do that.
Did he not tell?
No, I found out at the game. They announced it because some reporter or something, I guess Tress said something after that last practice or in something that he had. And so at the game that night, they announced it on the speakers. And I was like, oh, sweet. I'm starting next Saturday.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Like, all right, here we go.
That's what I was going to say. I don't remember him making an announcement to the team.
I mean, and then even like in the Texas game, it was Friday night, I think, when I found out I was starting.
Hey, don't worry.
I was like, all right, here we go. Let's go. Not that you don't prepare, because you always prepare to be the starter, but
Todd Beckman found out that he wasn't starting in the locker room before the game.
Yeah, I mean, so I think coaches hand it differently. I never loved the way Tress handled any of that, but he still won a crap ton of games, and so it all worked out for him.
Yeah.
But I think Ryan has a better handle, better feel for it, just because he's a little bit younger. He's been through some things, playing quarterback in college, and I think he realizes the benefit of, if this is our guy, let's go ahead and give him that nod and let him know.
So they didn't tell you you're starting the Texas game until like
the night before.
That's great.
And then I got 2 series and it didn't play again until the third quarter.
I don't think that will happen to anybody on Ohio State's roster. Now, Ryan Day has been patient and methodical throughout spring practices, even when it was Justin Fields and the competition is Tathan and Matthew Baldwin. He did not go in to the summer and say, oh, well, Justin's definitely the guy. Like, there's indications maybe this person is ahead, but you have to go out and earn it. We're not going to give anything definitive in the summer. That was true even when it became, to Nicole's point, clear that CJ was going to be, starting against Minnesota 2 years ago. That was, I would say it was 7 to 10 days into camp. I'd have to go back and look for sure. It was similar with Justin Fields. Well,
here's the thing. I don't think you want to announce it, and then the guy goes out and plays really bad for a week in camp, and then guys are looking around. It's like, maybe, or maybe
then you set yourself up for a hole in the guard. Now we got to bench him, and then we got to come in. But I mean, you want to see how they're.
Nothing is ever permanent, right? I mean, you don't have to stick with a depth chart just because you do it. But I think, given the scrutiny,
can you just put an or a slash in there?
They can.
Been done before. I feel like
a lot of teams do. But
how many starters can be on a team?
Well, I think Michigan's depth chart lists 85 starters, so that's how they handle it up there. But there's so much scrutiny and attention on that position that, for Ohio State specifically, it does a disservice, in my opinion, to both quarterbacks to let the uncertainty linger, and then you have to continue to answer it, and your teammates have to answer it. If that becomes the dominant narrative for your team throughout August, I think there's a price.
What about Lincoln? Is he in the mix, you think? Because Tathan was always in the mix.
He's a great athlete. I don't think he's in the mix.
Okay.
I think that Tristan Gebbia is much more likely to take a snap than Lincoln Keenholz.
Okay. I just want to know what's in the mix.
Yeah, in the mix. Well,
Urban was
number
big about
6
guys
and number 33, which I wanted to tell him Friday night, change your number.
But sweet.
But no, it's not sweet.
He's Jack Sawyer on offense.
I can't stand it.
that would get you going. Nicole, what about the players? Anything else that you're Marvin? You know, ask him about.
Marvin, how are you so good?
I'm honestly, I honestly just want
because
to.
you saw his quote. I can't wait for training camp. I love to practice. I'm going to be like, he's ready to rock.
I know. I can't wait to like. It's been a while since we've heard from them, at least me, and I'm just excited to hear what they have to say about the season. And yeah, Marvin, I mean, he's like our top guy this year. So just
he is the top guy.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. So, and the quarterback thing, I still am just like, I kind of understand why they don't announce it either, just so that the guys don't get too confident and keep practicing like they're fighting for it. I think that's important.
First of all, there's a reason they don't announce it because you don't want to double back. It's like Appetizer Tuesday. You don't let the cat out of the bag until you know what you've got. Appetizer Thursday.
Yep.
On a Tuesday.
What do we have?
What do we have this week?
Mod 6 is the classic.
They're a favorite.
Yummy in my tummy.
Jay-Z hasn't even.
Well, we started talking. The food came. I didn't want to stuff my face while I was getting asked the question, but I'm going to.
Anytime you're building out an appetizer menu, Mod Sticks are the first. They're the first draft pick. They're the foundation that you're building. There's other people that might be flashy. You know, Berm loves the mac and cheese bites, and you've got.
They're good. The mac and cheese bites.
It's too much hype.
But
you can't win without.
It's a staple of the appetizer.
This is your offensive line.
Yeah, you look around. Hey, you got a big order, big table, group of friends. Hey, you get some apps. You know what? Let's get a couple mods.
Get some cheese sticks. Let's
there you go.
Especially
delicious marinara sauce. You know what you could ask Marvin? Is you should ask him this. How did your parents raise such an incredible human? What were the skills? How did they interact with you to make you such a highly motivated, respectful, fantastic human being?
Superstar.
His parents are already going to be coming up a lot because we're going to be in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Well, so
I would love to know the answer.
I honestly, I've told him that. I'm like, your dad, I don't know what your parents did, but I mean, you could be like a grade A D-back. You could be like Michael Jordan's son dating Scottie Pippen's ex-wife, for heaven's sake.
He likes older women. What can he say? But don't hate on the guy.
Well, she said she used to sleep with Scottie like 4 times a day, so that may have got him right into the DMs right away.
That's strong advertising.
It's strong.
That's word of mouth right there. Nicole, what else is going on at Roosters this month?
So, guys, it's a big week, National Chicken Wing Day. Yes. So we're doing 79-cent boneless and traditional wings all day, dine-in and carry out.
What day is that?
That's at all locations.
What day is that?
The 29th. Saturday. Is that Saturday? Yeah.
That is
Saturday?
Friday?
So we have Big Ten Media Days.
I think it's Saturday.
And
Saturday.
National
I
Chicken
just
Wing
looked.
Day?
Yes. Yeah, it's Saturday.
On a Saturday at Roosters, this place is going to be wild.
I know. It's an awesome day.
How about that?
Yeah.
Exciting.
Okay. When's your next vacation?
I think I'm all vacationed out, guys.
All vacation out. So you're going to be here next Monday?
Yes.
The bowl trip.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, the bowl trip.
It's coming around the corner. We don't have to give that promotion away yet, Jason.
Hey, thanks for bringing it up.
Well,
we got to get things going.
I got to make sure she's
got
to make sure she's on it.
My first day back to work. Just add to the anxiety.
Add to the list, Nicole.
Exactly.
All right.
She's going to get that done before her next vacation in 2 weeks.
Exactly.
All right, Nicole, go back to work. We'll let you out of here. We're going to take a break here at the live show in the Horseshoe Lounge at Roosters, which is a fun, casual joint.
Roosters has been so fortunate. We just want to be able to give some of that back to the community.
They donate to organizations that are near and dear to their heart, and we're so fortunate to have been with Roosters now for a long time.
They always go above and beyond to help support our foundation to further help veterans.
It's just a wonderful feeling to know that Roosters supports the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer.
All the folks at Roosters are just genuinely kind folks, and they want to make a difference.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
All right, welcome back into the Horseshoe Lounge. Berm is here.
Hey,
it's me. Didn't Berm make a prediction about getting a linebacker over the weekend?
No.
Yeah, believe me.
24 of them, I thought.
I was devastated when I heard that news this morning.
Kingston Viamulasa picked Notre Dame over Ohio State on Sunday. That was a shock. I mean, it's not something. If you look even.
Did James go back to Notre Dame?
I had to check and make sure. No, he's still here.
This is a situation where do you know the band Confederate Railroad by any chance?
I do not.
An old country band. They had a song.
Did they have to change their name?
No, they had a. I don't know. Maybe they don't make music anymore. They're old. But they had a song called "Jesus and Mama," and apparently that's what won the day for Notre Dame. If you look at
it's hard to recruit against those two.
If you look at other teams' message boards, which I do because I'm a freak, and you see these things. there was nobody in the Notre Dame media sphere that even on Saturday
thought that
they had all but conceded the point. And Kingston and his family, I mean, they're very, very faith-driven, very, very concerned about academic reputations and that sort of stuff, and went to a church camp last week. And
you went to a church camp?
And then
God bless him. That's, you know what? I'm really upset that he didn't come here now.
He essentially
he sounds like a great kid.
He had gone
He's awesome.
For the last month. It was a done deal for Ohio State, and he read a couple scriptures that he thought spoke to him and put him.
James should have sent him some more scriptures.
I mean, I would imagine that right now they are looking through different texts and trying to figure out like which Bible verses they can apply to. You know, you should just consider
changing your mind.
Sometimes a wise man speaketh firsteth or whatever. But bottom line,
we don't let.
I think that's in there somewhere.
Yeah, they're not going to add the berm chapter.
Bottom
to
line,
the Holy Bible.
You didn't write the book. You just need to read.
It's a disappointing loss for Ohio State. That's not one that
devastating.
They were counting on Kingston Viamuasa in this class, and like I said, I don't know how you compete against Jesus and Mama. And if both Jesus and Mom wanted them at Notre Dame, then that's where
that's a tough
one. Marcus Freeman.
You know, that's the hard part. I mean, you're James
and his academics
recruiting against a guy that is one of your best friends, and you know, who coached with you, and you guys both played at Ohio State at the same time. I don't know that this really comes down to. I mean, even if the quotes around this are crazy, like I mean,
James is one of the most spiritual guys I know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed that he couldn't.
Kingston Viamuasa said that after he made his official visits, Notre Dame was the one school he couldn't see himself going to, and that he chose them thinking, well, I guess I just need to trust that it's the right decision because faith is about doing things that you don't see. So, like, it's an interesting.
That's an interesting way to pick a college.
Sometimes you lose. This is not a situation where Ohio State could have done anything different. Period. And sometimes you lose.
Everybody felt good after he came here on his visit.
Everyone felt great on Saturday morning. Everyone felt great Saturday.
Well, even in his quotes, it sounds like I was in on Ohio State, and then I went to this thing, and all of a sudden I was in the mountains. And
my grandma used to have a saying, "I can't win for losing." I never really knew what that meant, but I feel like that's maybe what you would have said at the end of that deal.
It's one of those.
It's one of the most confusing expressions that has ever been.
I can't win for losing. I'm like, I've never understood that, Grandma, but it was good, and this is something I feel like
whatever that means, it probably applies.
It applies to this scenario.
So now it's back to the drawing board at
what's next?
linebacker. The Buckeyes have two guys committed at linebacker: Peyton Pierce and Garrett Stover.
Both great guys. I thought they were going to be as much.
They were very, very involved with Kingston. I mean, this is when I told Garrett Stover yesterday what the decision was, because he had asked me, like, "Do you hear what's?" And they were shocked. So it's the way it goes. I mean, the recruiting is not for the faint of heart, and it's getting harder and harder. And, you know,
but this is something that's so outside of all the issues.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You build an entire recruiting mechanism around extremely tangible things, and then you recruit a player who has an interest in things that are non-tangible, and it becomes a harder sell.
I think it's a good reminder that, and I know you've tried to make this point before, but not every single recruitment is going to come down to name, image, and likeness.
Yeah.
There were all those conversations and the hand-wringing about what Ohio State was and wasn't doing in December. They've stepped up in that. Academically, I mean, Notre Dame has a more long-standing reputation for it, but Bob, you get those questions a lot when people come in. The Ohio State degree is worth quite a lot anymore.
Yeah, it's not what it used to be.
Corey Smith has a degree from Ohio State.
Well, I'm not saying that all of them carry the same weight, but academically, NIL with SEC teams, academically with Notre Dame, like Ohio State has everything that they could put on the table.
They have the ability to compete with everyone in just about every venue.
Yep.
Notre Dame is a very prestigious school. Ohio State, especially over the last 10 years, 20 years, has really ramped up, especially depending on what you're going to do. I know that they were looking to go to the business school. It's a top 25 business public university for business school. Like, it's great. Fisher's fantastic.
Yep.
You know, I mean, Ryan's is a good human being. Like, they have, it's amazing. You know, when you start talking about the faith element of it, they have a really high quality group of players on the team. And that's like, just when talking to his mom, I mean, that was the one thing. I'm like, these guys are all really good people. Like, they all, The other guys are big in FCA. They're athletes in action. They're really like good dudes. These are the key guys you want your son to be around. And I don't know. I don't think there's anything else they could have done.
There's nothing Ohio State could have done different.
Maybe a seance.
The kid went to a church retreat and said God spoke to him. And if that's your faith, how do you turn it down? You can't be Ohio State can't be like, oh come on, really, Jesus and Mom. Like it's not like they can combat that and say, how that's just stupid.
I can't believe that.
So
he's a great.
I mean, reading on it, it's almost like you hate to miss out on the kid because he seems like a good kid and he seems like he'd be a great addition to a team. Just based off how he talks and what he says and everything else.
He's a perfect good player on top middle linebacker, the right type of player in person to replace Tommy. Like it's there's a reason he was the first player Ohio State offered in the class of 2024 3 years ago. Okay, he's a great player, great person, and kudos to Notre Dame. They won the battle.
No, there's still time.
There's plenty of things that can happen between now and December, of course. But bottom line is Ohio State will have to go back to the drawing board on Monday, as they've already started to do, and look at other potential linebacker additions in the class. Decide if maybe it makes more sense to hold off and wait till the transfer portal, which now is something that, from talking to people around the program in the last month and a half, 2 months, they're starting to see some real value in the transfer portal when maybe they didn't before, when they see guys like Josh Simmons and Tywan Malone and Davison Igbinosun and Jahai Carter coming in and being not just good players, but like prepared players, ready to go players. And in this ever-changing world of college football, you may need to start doing that a touch more often because you are recruiting against so many different elements all the time. And if you can find a player that fits your scheme and personality and who is also 2 years already into college and physically ready, it may start to make more sense to do that. So they're definitely going to look at replacing Viamuasa with another high school linebacker, but there's not a lot of them out there. The top 10 are all committed, and this week Georgia will probably land a commitment from 3 of the top 5 because that's what they do after signing 3 of the top 5 last year. So, it's the catch-22 for Ohio State. They cast a very narrow net on these positions. They are very dialed in on the players they want. If you don't get them, then you got problems. And the good news is you still have 2 commitments, as I said, at linebacker. It's not like you're hurting there, but you clearly wanted Viamuasa.
But last year's class was light, so you wanted to
only one guy last year, and so that is the risk you run. Now they're only playing 2 linebackers most of the time in the system, so you don't need 9 or 10, but you probably need to have 7 or 8 on the roster.
Yeah.
And when you go into this season and you lose Cody Simon, Tommy Eichenberg, and Steele Chambers after this year,
is Cody not coming back?
I would imagine he's heading into his 5th year, right?
No, he has 1 more year left.
It would be a surprise to me if he came back after another, because
I think this is Cody's 4th year.
He was in the 2019 class, so
yeah, that's right.
Same year as Cade, so this would be his 5th year.
Really?
He's got a COVID bonus. He can.
He could come back with COVID, but
I was thinking this was only going to be his 4th.
He was maybe he was in the 2020 class.
He's the same age as Court, so whatever.
2020.
So
now
Bob's
now,
right.
Now it's interesting.
Bob beat Berman recruiting.
You're right.
Come on.
So Court Williams is actually one of these guys that you could see
moving to linebacker
and maybe mitigating some of these conversations. Of course, there's I know you personally are probably very involved in trying to get Sonny Styles to do the same thing. So there's a conversation to be had inside of the roster if you can replace that.
Yeah.
But ideally you just want to get the best high school players in the country.
How are you going to get what's it going to take for you to get Sonny in a linebacker? If that's what you want.
Maybe just another sandwich. I mean,
just need to bulk up a little bit.
I don't know if that happens this year. Because this year, they're pretty well stacked, and you want him on the field. So maybe there is scenarios where he's linebacker-ish and moving around. But like him and Court, I look at both of these guys. Like, dude, you guys are both going to struggle to stay under 230 pounds. Like that 225. Like that's a reality. Like they're just
muscular, 15 pounds on and be a linebacker.
And you don't even really need to be. It's the linebacker weight now is like 230 to 240. It's not like Schleg's.
Yeah, not like 265.
Yeah, you don't need to be me when I was there. Like,
there's no reluctance on Court Williams' part to play linebacker if he's asked. He just has to stay healthy.
Yes, and because he has the physical gifts, he can move, he can run. He's battled a lot of injuries. And Sonny, it's like, well, you've never done it before. So like,
but he's an athlete.
He's an athlete. He's a big dude. It's like, okay, how do we figure out how he best fits? And the thing is, this year they can maybe do some of that and explore a little bit while they're still playing other things, because you have Steele and you have Tommy and you have Cody. Yeah. You have three guys who are experienced, but both of those guys with their athleticism bring a different element should you need it. But I would imagine this time next year, both of those guys I would define as linebackers.
That's what makes it such a difficult conversation. Now we're just going off on a tangent, but this year's linebacking core is set. Yeah. So it's not like the right time to just experiment and say, hey, Court, go play this position, because he's not going to play. Yeah. So if he's not, do you just take this year? You don't want to take another year off.
He's not going to play at safety
right.
either. So like, why not just start
getting reps? And maybe that is the deal with Court.
Second half of game, you get in, you get some experience.
Which is practicing it and practicing, getting in the game,
being on the field for him. Yes, paramount. I mean, he has to just be healthy. With Sonny, like we were over at on campus on Friday watching the Pro Series camp or whatever, Pro Camp, and talking to different players that were there. Each one of them to a man was like, Sonny has to play. We just don't know how or where
but he
has to play. So he's too good to not be on the field. So if that means eventually he has to come around to the idea of saying, maybe my best path to the field is linebacker, because for whatever number of reasons, maybe that's my best NFL future, etc. I mean, you look at like a guy like Isaiah Simmons, who obviously that's the comparison for Sonny Styles. He's now playing linebacker full-time in the NFL. That's probably where it's going. So the question is, how long do you wait before you commit to that?
And so, but this year, I think Sonny playing is more important than anything. I think probably the best place for him to play this year is still in like that safety-ish role. Court, like you said, probably getting him over there, getting him reps at linebacker is probably a more prudent decision for him. And then next year in the spring, after Sonny has played a lot, because playing football helps you. It's a very novel concept. Playing football actually makes you a better football player.
Are you saying that doing things make you better at the things you're doing?
It's crazy, I know. It's crazy to think that. So him being on the field in some capacity will make him a better player for maybe a potential switch next year.
Out of C. Grant. C. Grant did that, right? I mean, played safety, cornerback.
C came in at safety, and then they moved him to linebacker. And then they moved him to corner, and then he's like, "You can't keep doing this to my weight." He goes, "I can't. You can't tell me to gain 20 and then lose 20."
Snip snap.
Yeah.
And then they moved him back to linebacker again. I'm like, dude, you are unbelievable.
Yeah, the point. I mean, when you're an athlete and you can do that kind of stuff. I mean, getting experience playing is huge.
Yeah.
Moving around, I mean, it's just a difference of, all right, where do I line up? And, what are my obligations?
It's not everyone's Sam Hubbard. You know what I mean? Not everyone's coming. I mean, Sonny came in at 6'4.5". 215 pounds, but
215.
Yeah, I was going to say like 200,
maybe 220 by the time he enrolled. But Sam came in at that same weight, but Sam was 280 by the time he was a junior. Yeah. So they had and that was without a plan. It was like, well, let's play safety, linebacker, defensive end. Let's try it all.
He was one of the best dodgeball players.
Did you know that he also played lacrosse? Wow.
He was going to go to Notre Dame.
Wow.
He was committed to
play
lacrosse. That's great.
Wow, that's crazy.
And then Urban found him playing dodgeball.
Never heard that before.
It's a beautiful story.
Signed that guy up, got him in there.
JZ, were there any young dudes out there at the Diamond that caught your eye?
You know what? I got to compete against Kyle McCord, and I won.
In what?
Let's just start there.
Compete against him in what?
They did a one-handed catch section, or in between innings. He got to throw to his guys. I got to throw to a couple older receivers. Let's just say Jay-Z still got it. I can put that touch and then put the ball up high for my guys to get the one-handed
where it
catch.
needs to be.
All right. He might have a little too much.
Little zip
going for that. For that single.
It has been something that Berm and I have noticed watching practice, is that Kyle McCord has no problem throwing the fastball,
zipping it.
Sometimes it might be, can you use the touch a little?
Yeah. So, so one there. We saw Devin Brown throw against Cardale in a circular, one of those things. And they weren't pushing it like the people do at halftime of the big games. They were actually throwing it, which is hard.
If you're a quarterback, you can't push it. Even if it's better.
I don't think they should be able to chest pass in those events.
Technically it's the best. It's the best way to do it. It's easier and you can get more reps out.
100%. But I think they should make them take a 3-step and throw it every single time. The throwing competition.
Yes.
I think Cardale beat Devin as well.
Cardale can
definitely
probably still
in the long ball.
Yeah, Cardale can still.
The footballs were reason were small and they were kind of deflated a little bit. So both of them threw a long ball and it was like. helicopter. I'm like, oh man, and then I got to throw next, and I'm like, oh, I understand why. But
so you're saying the future of the quarterback position's in doubt?
Well, on a baseball field with small deflated balls, it's hard to grab and throw.
That sounds like
grab small.
But it was nice to talk to those guys.
Sounds like Purdue's getting an idea in their head. Let's move this out of Ross Ames and play it on a baseball field.
There you go.
That's a great idea. Northwestern tried that.
I think Emeka was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's a great athlete.
Yeah, you could just tell he knew what he was doing up there.
Because this portion of the show is now just completely tangential in nature. We were talking on Friday.
What part of the show is ever
we were
scripted? Have you ever seen me show up here with a script? Like,
that's why you got your phone here.
It's called a fun, casual conversation.
We were talking on Friday. Is Emeka Egbuka being like every national publication or whatever has him as the number 2 ranked receiver in the country, right?
It's pretty good.
Which is like, hey, that's great. But like, is he still not getting enough credit from Ohio State fans about the season he had a year ago and what value he brings to the football team?
When he battled through injury last year, I mean, his shoulder. Yeah, yep. Shoulder was bad. I mean, he played through it, especially in the Georgia game. He was busted up. I mean, he's a tough kid. I do. Everybody loves Marvin because they see everything he does. He has the famous last name, and he's great.
Yeah, because Emeka's with him all of the time. Yeah. It's not like it's Marvin out there by himself, but it's always about Marvin doing the extra work. But Emeka's there the whole time.
You're right. He probably doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably just one of those things. I mean, the name I think is big because you have, Marvin Harrison.
Dad's a Hall of Famer.
Yes, Dad's a Hall of Famer. He's going to be a top 5. I mean, but Emeka, why can't he be a top 10, 15 pick as well?
If Marvin wasn't here, if Marvin wasn't here, I think everybody would look at Emeka and say, "Hey, this is the next great receiver at Ohio State."
Yeah. I postulated on Friday that the reason is because in the class of 2021, Emeka Egbuka,
neither one of them talked much either. So
right, Emeka was the number 1 ranked receiver in the country in that class, and Marvin was like the 15th or something like that. So I think
look at Heartline scrapping and finding guys way down the board.
Diamond in the rough. This couldn't figure out just by his name that he might have good genetics.
I just assume it's because Marvin's been so much better than anyone expected that Emeka could never actually be better than people thought he would be because of the
when you're number 1.
Marvin's went out and made some crazy catches too. I mean, the one on the sideline, getting his foot down. He has more of the highlight.
He does things that are superhuman, and so it makes
Emeka's very good.
Emeka look pedestrian.
Yeah, maybe you don't see.
I think that's it. Like
the crazy highlight plays where they're going to show it on ESPN over and over again, and then you throw in his last name and who his dad is, and it just takes it.
But they're both going to be top 10 picks next year.
I would imagine.
As long as we have an offensive line that can protect, and our quarterback puts it where it needs to.
Yeah.
Which are two big ifs.
Emeka was working on one-handed catches on Friday. So
watching Emeka and Marvin on the Monarch machine is worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
Which fortunately I didn't have to pay.
Does that thing throw? Any route you want?
It's remarkable. So I was looking at it back there.
I've never seen one in person.
Mac was showing because there's like a little screen, dude, and it's like you can adjust like
where
the degree the loft.
Really?
You can adjust the loft.
So you can like throw an 18-yard comeback. Boom, boom with velocity.
The whole route tree.
Really? Miles per hour route tree.
That sounds awesome.
It's crazy.
Now the only concern sometimes, Bob and I are standing there watching them take some deep routes, is if somebody leaves a gator in the corner of the end zone.
Dude, so that's like parked right there where the door is that you walked out. Mm-hmm. So they're doing like toe tap stuff on the side and working it. And they're catching like more on the side, not in the very back corner. And this thing's parked there like, I don't know, right at the end line. Oh, yeah. And it's a little bit further away, but I'm like, God forbid one of you guys trips. I'm like, and there was no keys, so I had to put it in neutral and just push it to the middle. Well, I'm like, if one of you guys trips and falls into it, and I told Emeka this. I was like, I watched, I think it was Marshall, and I can't remember who they were playing. And I think my brother was done. Maybe he was still playing. Maybe he was a GA there. I can't remember. But the band, dude, someone on the band left a damn cart in the end zone, and the receiver, he was pretty good. I think it was for the other team. He was like probably would have been a mid-round pick. Ran through the back of the end zone, broke his leg. I mean, he was running full speed, probably 20 miles an hour. And there's just a gator with a tray, like the cart in the back, and smoked it. And like his leg was gross. It was bad. It was like a big car wreck. So I'm like, let's not do that a week before camp. And let's just move this thing.
Also worth the price of admission, watching Bob push a gator by himself.
There's no keys. I'm like, put it in neutral. I'm like looking around. I'm like, where the heck is Perkins at? Like, come on, get this thing out of here.
And always worth $3 on appetizer
Threes Day.
Mozzarella sticks.
Mott sticks.
Get that tomorrow at your local Roosters. It's a fun casual joint. Appreciate Nicole Cox welcoming her back from vacation straight back to work with us. Thanks for having us in here. That's Jay-Z, Bob, Berm. I am Austin. We will talk to you next Monday in here at Roosters in the Horseshoe Lounge. See you then.